Hello, cats and kittens. Orewa Jose, Yoroshiku, and welcome back to the Crisis Corner on Manga Monday. Here to give my review on One Piece chapter 1029, The Tower. And it's actually a chapter that I enjoyed because it's covering undercards that I actually care about. I actually do care about the Killer Hawkins fight. Some of the other ones I don't, like Fukurokuju and Reivew. I don't care. They can all scream that. I don't care what happens. I mean, I know the good guys are going to win, but I don't really care what happens in that fight. I don't need to see it. But here we're dealing with almost three sets of fights, but really we get a taste, a portion of the Sanji Queen fight only as it's relevant to Sanji's body change. Um, he's in an interesting predicament because he is apparently morphing or metamorphosizing into possibly, as far as he knows, what his siblings have become, his specifically his three brothers have become, which is emotionless uh, monsters, basically, as he puts it. You know, he says, I don't want to be like those monsters. I don't want, because along with the invulnerability, apparently that his body is adapting to the point where he takes a swipe from a sword from Queen to no effect except for like a little dent on his cheek that he easily straightens out. If he morphs into what they are, he would lose his emotions and become an unfeeling, unemotional monster, as he puts it, which is the opposite of what Sanji is. He's one of the most caring, passionate members of the crew. So clearly he doesn't, him running, I mean, he's not running out of fear. He runs off basically saying, you know, wait a minute, I got to process this. I got to figure out what's going on. He's trying to figure out what activated this change, where's it going, whatever. So he runs off. Where he thinks he's running to, I don't know, because Queen's right behind him, and he's in the middle of one of the biggest battles in One Piece history. I'm not saying it's the scale of Marineford, but it's not far off. So where he's going to figure this out, where he's running to, I don't know. But I don't really begrudge him the act of trying to figure out what's happening to him. I don't begrudge him that much because the consequences could be severe. Now, he could try to say, you know, let me put this on hold, defeat this dude, and then figure out the rest later. That's one way you could do it. But at the same time, does he even know what he's capable of at this point? You know, he doesn't bring the raid suit into it because he doesn't want to use it, which would, you know, either even further, you know, put him in a category with his brothers. So I get that. He's going to have to make his peace with it at some point. And he's going to have to use the raid suit. Or they're going to have to write it out of a book or whatever. He realizes, Queen realizes it has nothing to do with hockey. This is just straight up Judge's proclamation that he could give humans exoskeleton, abnormal regeneration, and great strength, and an unfeeling heart. So he knows enough about Judge. He said he remembered what Judge said, so he must have said that in his presence. They were partners at some point or whatever. So he realizes this. He thinks he understands to some extent what's happening to Sanji, although Sanji has no clue himself. So he runs off to wherever he's going to try to figure this out. Cutscene. And then also he's taking bullets. He's taking bullets that are being shot at him from Kaido's subordinates. He feels it. He feels the pain of the shots. He says they hurt. So I guess he still has his feelings, but he's still invulnerable to some degree. Then we go to Law and Kid struggling with Big Mom, which is not any, bad mark on their ledger. They're fighting against a young girl. And Kid's having headaches, or so he thinks, but the headaches are really being caused by Hawkins banging his head up against the wall. Since Hawkins has using Kid's life as one of his strawman collections, you know how his powers work. He takes hostages basically, and whatever damage is done to him is done to his little voodoo strawman, which is fine. Uh, Kid and Law are putting up a decent fight with Big Mom. I would actually say they would have less of a chance, although combined they're putting up a good fight. But I'm impressed. I'm impressed that they're still alive, to be honest with you, because neither one of them has advanced their hockey to Luffy's level, be it armament or, well, conquerors would only apply to Kid, but neither of them are advanced to Luffy's level to the point where he can deal damage to Kaido, and I wouldn't expect them to be able to do that much damage to Big Mom because her endurance is on Kaido's level or above. I mean, she's a tank. I would say on his level, at least. So, and to Kid's credit, he takes a flying slash from Big Mom. He just tanks that, that should have been enough to cut him in half. I don't know what he's made of. Did he put up armament? I don't know. He just survived it. Law gets in the counter shot that hurts Big Mom, but it doesn't put her down, and he tanks a fire blast from Prometheus. All right, so this battle is engaged, but the real question is, how does Killer defeat Hawkins when to attack him he would actually do damage to his own captain? And this is the most enjoyable part of the chapter to me. It shows the level of commitment that he had, that Killer has to Kid, and of course it parallels Zoro's commitment to Luffy. But the thing, because if you parallel Killer versus Hawkins to Zoro versus Kuma, where Zoro offers his life in behalf of his captain, I would say Killer's situation has to be more frustrating, because if Hawkins did not have that straw man that represented his captain's life, he would dust him off. I'm not going to say it would be easy, but he would kill that man easily. Well, I just said it. But yeah, I think he would dust off Hawkins. Zoro could not beat Kuma, so he had to offer. The only thing he had to offer was his life. And that probably, in some sense, I think that would make it easier than going up against a dude that you could kill in any other circumstance and having to offer your life to him to save your captain. Yeah, you still have the commitment to save your captain, but it got to be irritating to do it to a dude, to offer your life to a cat that you know that you can beat in a fair fight. Pirates fights are not fair. They can't be, because they're pirates. So there's that. Another interesting thing that I find about this fight is that Killer exposes Hawkins essentially as being a coward. Hawkins makes a play of being a card master. He plays the odds, basically. Always lines up the odds according to him and does what the cards dictate he should do by percentage. Okay. Killer's point is, When he allied with Kaido, he didn't do that because he was playing the percentages. He did it because he was afraid. His statement basically is that, let me see. Killer basically states that Hawkins feared dying in the future and allied himself with Kaido, and now he's regretting that decision because he sees that they're still alive. Kid and Killer rejected Kaido's offer and are still alive and still have a chance to win because they kept fighting. And now he's regretting that and he's remorseful, but he's, talking trash and so forth, He's offering Killer an opportunity. I'll put in a word with Kaido and you can still join up with us. He said, "You just saying that because you regret the fact that you took the offer in the first place. You could have stood your ground and still be fighting with us or against Kaido, not necessarily teaming up, but you could have still been fighting for your freedom and standing on your own 2 feet. But you went out like a punk, basically, and acquiesced." And the fact that he doesn't deny this basically tells me that, Killer's speaking the truth. Now, yeah, people are afraid of dying, true, but you can take a chance and say, or you can just take the position, I'd rather live on my feet than die on my knees and, take the L, wind up in jail like Kid did, But he punked out enjoying it. And now he regrets it because, the fight's basically, it's an even fight at this point. It could go either way. And he, it really sucked if he was on the losing side then because it turned out to be a real bad decision. Now, this brings us to another interesting thing that I'm not extremely clear on how Hawkins' powers work, but Killer makes the correct decision of cutting off Hawkins' arm, the arm that parallels Kid's, because Kid doesn't have an arm there, because he asked him, if you take damage without a proper conduit, it says, where does the damage go? The resulting page tells us that the damage goes straight to Hawkins. And Killer takes the arm in spectacular fashion because he basically blitzed the man. He's in the previous page, the two are standing face to face with a few feet between them. By the time we get to that spread page, that I guess that's a 2-page spread, isn't it? Nah, well, anyway, he's leaping over his head and has already cut off his arm by the time Hawkins looks down to see that it's missing. And then this pain kicks in. So he basically blitzed him. I say it's similar to Zoro's Nitorio Iai, where he quick draws him. He quick draws somebody like a lion song. I won't put it on that level. He just speed blitzed him and took the arm. Okay, so the corresponding arm falls off a Kid, but it doesn't do him any pain damage because the metal arm is detachable anyway, which is a pretty precise cut because Kid has a nub that he attaches his prosthetic to, so he cut it just at the right place where it wouldn't do Kid any damage. All right, fine. And to Hawkins' horror, he catches the pain. Now, when does Hawkins lose his hostage and the little straw man comes out? Is it when the person is dead, when they're in pain, when they're defeated, and where is it stored? Does it matter where he stores it on his body? Does it have to come out of his head, his arms, whatever? He said because Killer says, once I take this out, how many more lives are protecting your own? So did he pull it out or did it come out on his own and he just tossed it to the side? Because how do you know what I mean? How do you know that the straw man is hidden in that arm? Because that's the only arm he could cut off. And does the straw man come off because of pain or defeat or what? Because he's lost straw men before, and I don't think it was because the people were dead. They were just damaged. I think. I'm not sure. So somebody's got to explain that to me. Either way, he loses the arm, and the straw man comes out. So I guess so at that point, Kid is safe. He can no longer do Hawkins can no longer do him any damage, and Killer can attack Hawkins freely, which he does. Hawkins attempts to defend himself with his straw man, his the card of destruction. The scythe wielding big straw man comes out, but Killer cuts him in half quickly. It's not even an effort. He just boom gets rid of him. It comes down to Hawkins pulls his last card, which turns out to be the Tower, which is the title of the chapter, which represents the Tower card represents destruction, calamity, just a card meaning calamity is about to befall somebody. Fine. But he said it also has a second meaning of a new way forward. So I guess the calamity that befell Hawkins obviously was getting sliced up by the sonic spin of Killer. And the new way forward is the fact that Kid is completely revived from the damage that he took. And the final panel, he's Killer saying, "Get going, partner." So I guess, I don't know if he knew that he was going to be revived to complete health, because Kid says, "My body feels much lighter," which I guess means better, healed, I guess. And he's preparing to take on Big Mom again. Now, whether or not, even revived, can he beat Big Mom? Because I ain't seen Big Mom take much damage at all. Kaido's taking a lot of damage, but Big Mom, I don't know how much damage they've done to her to this point. She still looks pretty fresh. So even fresh as a daisy, Law is still damaged. You know, he's been fighting nonstop and taking a lot of damage. Can Kid straight up defeat Big Mom? If is that where we're going? Because I don't think he can. But Oda can write his way out of anything. I just need to understand exactly how Hawkins' powers work in that regard. As far as where the straw men are stored, the little hostage straw men, what dictates him losing the ability to deal damage to by proxy. I don't actually get how that works. I mean, it works, but I just don't. I'm not exactly pinpoint sure on how that works. Otherwise, the execution of this story is fine. This isn't an undercard that I didn't want to see. I wanted to see how some of this works out. I want to see if Kid can beat Big Mom, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I want to see how Sanji defeats Queen and what this means for his body going forward. This thing is not going to end in this act. It's not going to dictate the end of the saga, whatever, as a whole, because there's too much stuff floating around. It might take another couple of acts to finish everything off, because you got a lot of flashbacks that are going to have to come up. You got the whole thing with the Marines coming in. You still haven't figured out, you know, some of these, you know, lineages and stuff like that. So yeah, this is going to be going on for a little while, and I'm fine with that, you know. I'm fine with that. So I enjoyed the chapter. I enjoyed the battle. I'm just not clear on exactly how everything works, but I'm fine with it. So looking forward. There's no break. We'll be continuing with a new chapter this week, which is fine. I don't know if it's going to conclude this fight. Well, put it like this: Killer Hawkins is over. That's done. Are we gonna who we're gonna bounce to next? I don't know. That's anybody's guess. Because there's a lot of fights out there to figure out. There's a few fights out there to figure out, all of which I'm not really concerned with. But look forward to the next chapter. Let me know your thoughts on how Hawkins' powers work. Until next time, stay loose.